Somalia is reclaiming its sovereignty and is trying to make sure that it deserves to be respected. This is not an emotional decision. This is not an ad hoc decision. We cannot continue people who are bypassing the federal system, government system. It was the last straw.
In this episode of Center Stage, we're joined by the State Minister for Foreign Affairs in Somalia, Ali Omar. Omar talks to us about the challenges facing Somalia today, the Israeli-backed secession attempts by Somaliland, the ongoing fight against the armed group al-Shabab, and why Mogadishu decided to cut its ties with the UAE. Minister Ali Omar, welcome to Center Stage.
Thank you.
I want you to help us understand how Somalia sees itself in the world, but specifically in the region today. There are a lot of challenges, internally, but also externally. How is it responding to these challenges?
Thank you very much. First, let me go back and start where Somalia came from. Somalia got its independence in 1960, and it started in a very democratic system. Somalia was the first African country that had a democratically elected president. It was the first African president who left the power because of the election. And later on, we had a military takeover, which interrupted the democratic process, and it took about 21 years, which at the end created a collapsed state. Somalia has collapsed in a way that did not happen anywhere else in the world. A total collapse. The state has gone. We had 10 years of no government at all. That did not happen anywhere else in the world for the past century. Since 2012, Somalia started a transitional government that has created incremental progress. Today, Somalia has a fully fledged federal system, parliament, and an elected president. There was a time that Somalia needed any help that it can get, regardless how it comes through. But that has created a challenges. There was a time that we tolerated dealing with subnationalists, non-state actors, and etc., with foreign entities. At that time, the need was there. But today, we have a established government system that needs to be respected. We are a member of the Security Council. We are a member of all major international organizations. So Somalia now is trying to reclaim its sovereignty and asking international community and other partners to deal with the state to state rather than state to non-state actors in the past. So that's where Somalia today is. Somalia is now sits in the Security Council. Somalia today is claiming its sovereignty again and asking people to respect. Anyone who respects us, we will deal with. Anyone who doesn't respect us, then we have to tell that this is the end. I mean, we cannot continue people who are bypassing the federal system, government system.
How do you feel about the role that the United Arab Emirates has had in Somalia? This is a country that has invested billions of dollars into the country.
I'm not sure if it's billions, but Somalis has benefited the free market of UAE, Dubai. There are a lot of Somali people who have businesses in Abu Dhabi, and Abu Dhabi and UAE has been dealing with non-state actors, subnationalists, sub-states, member states. And Somali federal government has tolerated for a time. We were hoping that will change, and then we will have state-to-state actors. But that did not happen. UAE has created a parallel security forces in different regions of Somalia, outside of the federal security system, which creates a fragmentation, creates gaps within the command center of Somali security forces. The government was hoping diplomatically for some time. We were dealing with them, but that diplomacy did not work. So now is the time that Somali government decided to take action. Similarly, UAE has signed agreements with subnationalists, which internationally are not allowed. The sovereign areas, for example, ports, seaports, military bases. I mean, those are the things that are unique to be dealt with the federal governments or national government rather than state governments. So all those things were being tolerated. We tried to talk them out of that issue for some time, but this is the time that the government decided it didn't work. Diplomacy doesn't work. So now the constitution has to work, and the cabinet made the decision yesterday to curtail that kind of relationship that was existing, and also nullify all agreements that the UAE has signed, state and non-state actors, and also the federal government. So Somalia is reclaiming its sovereignty and is trying to make sure that it deserves to be respected.
There has been some pushback against this decision from some of those regional governments, Puntland being one of them, Somaliland being the other. They're saying that they're not willing or they're not ready to cut ties with the UAE. Is this move going to be symbolic, or is there a way for Mogadishu to enforce it?
In our constitution, it is very clear. The international relations is the authority of the central government. Subnationalists don't have a sovereignty, don't have authority to deal with a foreign government. It was illegal initially, and it still is illegal, and there's no room for non-state actors to claim to be dealing with a foreign government.
And so when it comes to security, you mentioned the fact that the UAE, Mogadishu is accusing the UAE of creating parallel security forces. Puntland is an example of that, where the UAE has essentially built a large security force for that regional government. Is that going to create tensions with the ability to form national cohesions?
We do understand for the short term, there might be some disruptions, but in the long term, it is the interest of the state to have a unified security forces. And we hope to find a way out to unify those security apparatus that was created in the member states.
Speaking of sovereignty, there are a lot of regional powers that have a stake in Somalia's development, its future, its security, but also its position in the region. Of course, very key geographic position. When it comes to other countries that have been supporting Somalia and Somalia's government, whether it's Turkey, whether it's Qatar or Saudi Arabia, what role are those countries then going to play if Somalia is in a position now where it needs to decide who it's going to deal with and who it isn't?
We are grateful for the support we have received from our partners, especially Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, the US, UK, and others. Those who respect the state, those who respect the federal government. Anyone who deals with the federal government is more than happy to work with them. But anyone who bypasses, so anyone who deals with the federal government, we welcome. Somalia needs help, and we need the help that supported the unity of our country.
There's been, of course, tensions between Saudi Arabia and the UAE in recent weeks because of the secessionist movement in southern Yemen. And in the last couple of days, the leader of the secessionist movement, Idrus al-Zubaydi, reportedly fled to Somaliland first, but then flew out of, again, reportedly Mogadishu to go to the UAE. How did this happen? What does the Somali government know about this?
First, we are following what's happening in Yemen, which have some similarity with what's happening in Somalia. And we are very, very grateful for the Saudis' actions to stabilize Yemen. Hopefully that will help also Somalia, because the women smuggling to Somalia are coming through the Yemen. So a stable Yemen is also helps the stability of Somalia, and vice versa also. A stable Somalia also helps stable to Yemen. The fugitive that escaped from Yemen to Berbera and allegedly flew with a United Arab leased plane to Mogadishu. We have received that information. We received the manifest. His name was not in the manifest, but allegedly he was hiding in the plane, and the plane was cargo plane, brought some goods to Somalia, and then they left, and it was one of the reasons that we took this action. Not the reason, but one of the reasons. So using Somalia's airspace, Somalia's airfield to illegally smuggle a fugitive, it's not something that Somalia condones and something that we tolerate. And we inform it, we released a statement against that. We are investigating still to make sure that information is true. We have received a credible report that information is there, but we cannot verify physically that he was that plane. But that information is sufficient enough to make this decision, because UAE was using our airspace, was using our air bases for cargo planes for some time that go to Sudan and elsewhere. So we made a decision to ban all those non-civilian flights from UAE to Somalia, and also from Somalia to UAE.
So this was a last straw?
It was the last straw, yes. Somalia has tolerated a lot of things that we were hoping will change, but it did not change. So this is not an emotional decision. This is not an ad hoc decision. This is a decision that have an accumulated events that happened in the past couple of years that finally caused us to make this decision.
Officials in Somaliland have said in the media a number of times that the recognition from Israel is only the first of many other nations to come. Do you believe that's true? Do you think that we're about to see other countries recognize Somaliland?
I don't think so, and I hope that will not happen. I think we have done enough diplomatic reach out throughout the world. I think this is an illegal act, and I don't think the world is ready to make that kind of actions, especially in Africa, where Africa has a succession in every country of Africa. I think this will open a Pandora box, and no one needs more trouble in the world. Today, the world has enough trouble, and I don't think no other country will follow Israel on this path. And I hope at one point the Somaliland people will realize they made a big mistake, and they will reverse back to talk to the central government of Somalia and come back to the unity. Somaliland region, as a British colony, has 5 clans, 2 in the east and 2 in the west and 1 in the middle. The 2 in the east have already succeeded from Somaliland and created a state called Northeast. And also the 2 in the west, it's called Awdal, are now also trying to create their own state. So Somaliland is no longer as Somaliland as a region, but we are talking about a small part of the region, which may be about 30-40% of that region. So there's no sufficient momentum on that to create the state. I think Somalis realized in 1960 the unity was the interest of our people, and still we believe the unity is the interest of our people. And I think that realization will happen sooner than later.
What do you make of the reports that part of this agreement between Israel and the Somaliland leadership is about creating a forward military base in Somaliland for Israel? How would Mogadishu react to a move like that?
I think this is a regional issue. I think the region have enough mess, enough trouble, enough insecurity. I think to bring Israel in that region, that will only create more challenges. Somalia has been an active insurgent, al-Shabab and Daesh. And also in Yemen, you have Houthis. So this will attract...
Who have said that they will target any
this
Israeli
will attract only more insurgents in the southern part of the Gulf of Aden, the region of Somalia. And this will destabilize a stable part of Somalia, which is the northern part of Somalia, and will only increase the insecurity of the region. It will challenge the safe passage of the navigation, which around 15 to 20% of the world traffic goes through that region. And it will have an impact throughout the region, including Saudi and Egypt and Sudan and throughout the region. So this is not an issue that is Somali only. I think this is a regional issue, and the region is working together to challenge that kind of action that Israel can do in Somalia.
And you mentioned the insurgency that the government is trying to fight right now. And there have been analysts that suggested that what Somaliland has done and the presence potentially of Israel in that region is going to embolden those militants, is going to embolden groups like al-Shabab to recruit more, to have a claim against the government that they are already trying to push.
Definitely, I think that's the case. That's our prediction. And I hope I think Somaliland administration will revert back on this issue sooner than later. Otherwise, it will create more challenges throughout the region. Somalia had enough history, enough trouble. We don't need any more trouble in that part of Somalia that was a bit peaceful. And I think this decision will not stand, and I think it will be reversed.
Where does an organization like al-Shabaab get its funding?
That's a good question. I think they have some local resources. They took some taxes. They call it zakawat. Of course, they may have some external contributions. We don't know where, but al-Shabaab has enough resources. I think they are the well-resourced insurgent group in the world, and they are the most active al-Qaeda allied insurgent in the world.
And how is the fight trying to push them back, trying to regain some of that territory that was lost?
Al-Shabaab, there was a time that they were ruling most of Somalia. Today they are not. In our president, when he came 2022, he started a war against Al-Shabaab. He has liberated most of the central regions. And there was some setback early last year. But recently there was a good success, I think, in the lower Shabelle, in the middle Shabelle. I think we are making huge progress. Also now we are attacking, with the help of our partners, the headquarters of al-Shabaab, which is the Jubaland area. So we are hopeful, I think, if in the coming months, I think al-Shabaab will have more challenges to continue the war against Somalia.
Is there a concern that this ongoing fight against the insurgency forces is only emboldening, encouraging other regions to look to Somaliland and say, well, maybe this is a pathway for us to gain stability? Places like Puntland, for example, there was the interior minister after Somaliland announced its deal with Israel that tweeted, patience pays off. Do you think that there are others that are considering such a move in the near future?
I doubt it. I think the Somali people are not going to that path. I think that is a minority view. I think the people in the Puntland are happy to be in Somalia. I think there's no distinction between the Somalis. But let me go back to your question of the recruitment. I think al-Shabaab's initial invention was 2006. During the invasion of the Ethiopian forces to Somalia. Al-Shabaab was very minority, about 300, 400 people, but that invasion gave them a space to recruit more. More recently, when the MOU was signed, also Al-Shabaab get more recruitments. And also the current Israeli recognition, I'm sure will also create another momentum, Al-Shabaab to recruit more. Al-Shabaab or any other insurgent always benefits when there's a foreign element in the picture, and that would be a challenge in the region. For Puntland, I think Puntland people are nationalistic. They are people who want to be leading Somalia in the past, and hopefully to lead also in the future. So I don't think that would be the case. I think the minister has a very minority view.
So over the last 15 years, there's been this attempt by the Mogadishu government to create a sense of unity, to create a sense of stability between those regions. And there has often been a lack of trust between some of those regions and the central government. So how, in your opinion, can Mogadishu address this?
I think the external elements were part of these differences between the center and the periphery. If the peripheries or member states can get support from elsewhere, why do they need the central government? I think the fragmentation was created by the external elements who continue to support and supply and encourage the peripheries to come against the center. So the three regions that you mentioned, the Somaliland, Puntland, and Jubaland, all of them had some level of support from UAE. And it's one of the reasons that we decided now is a time to end that. The difference between the center and the periphery was mainly due to foreign elements, because they were given more support the more they become against the center. And that's what has created these differences.
And as part of winning back that trust, holding elections, there's meant to be elections in 2027, but there's fears that they could be delayed.
Yeah, Somalia had a peaceful elections in the past, in 2012, 2017, 2022. We had a very smooth power transition. We never had any contestation of election, and we hope to have the same thing this year. Somalia had a what they call indirect election, where we choose a caucus to elect our parliament, few people, elite-driven. But this time we decided to go beyond that level and go to inclusive elections. We started in Mogadishu. We had a very successful election in December 25th last year, very peaceful, well attended. We elected 390 council members in different cities of Mogadishu, and we are going to replicate the same thing into the outside districts and also member states, and also finally to the national level. So the election process is continuing. The political parties, we're trying to move away from clan allocation to a political party allocation elections. So that will happen in 2026.
And finally, Minister, I wonder if you can take us forward 10 years from now to where you hope Somalia would be, what the challenges are that are facing it, but also what makes you feel optimistic.
No, thank you very much. I think Somalia has a potential in many ways. Somalia has a young population. 70% of our people are less than 30 years old. We have huge diaspora, about 3 million people who are well educated, well resourced. Many of them are willing to come back to Somalia and contribute the development. We have expectation to have an oil in the offshore. The seismic survey has been completed, and the drilling is going to start very soon. We are expecting multiple logistic hub to be developed in the central regions of Garaat and Hobyo, and also in the Mogadishu, to create more connectivity to our neighbors, to Ethiopia and beyond. Somalia is a member of East Africa, which has a market of about 350 million population. Somalis are very dynamic. If you look from Johannesburg to Nairobi, you will find Somali investors, Somali investments. So Somalia has a potential to rival many of the Asian tigers. And we hope if we overcome this challenge that we hope to do in the coming couple of years, I think Somalia will hit the road for progress. And we are very, very grateful for the countries who stand with us, including Qatar, Turkey, Saudi, and beyond. I thank you.
And I wonder if you could end with a message to those young people, those youth that have only seen insecurity in their lives, about what they should look forward to in the future.
Yeah, the Somali young, who are young population, young educated, I think what we have seen in Mogadishu today, which is only peaceful for a year and a half, the progress in Mogadishu could be replicated throughout the country. Somalis are very small in number, about 20 million. The potential we have, that will be beyond our capacity. We will need more foreign people to come and work in Somalia. All those can only happen if we all work together and create a space where peace and also political stability can happen. And I think that's within reach. I think the progress we have made in the past 15 years has given us a hope that Somalia can move beyond where it is today and also can contribute beyond Somalia. And so those and more can happen when Somalia becomes more peaceful and get the opportunity.
Minister, we really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us on Center Stage.
Thank you very much, Al Jazeera. Hassan, thank you.